We're by far the youngest dancer at the Ballet Jazz, and she also went to the National Ballet School of Canada, and she just told us about the dance world, and we even got Margie Gillis to put in her 2 cents.
Well, I did my story on a group of teenagers from the Montreal School of Performing Arts, and they're doing a play on the story of Anne Frank.
What about you, Neil?
We went to medieval night and actually got to cross swords with people. It was really cool. And we just went to go check out why people are so interested in the medieval times.
I did a story on a program that was set up by the government and by veterans to interact with students, grade 11 students in high schools, and give them a feeling of what it was like to be in wartime situations.
We did a story on Leave Out Violence, where kids can express themselves through photography. And there's rumor going around that girls are smarter than boys, but I don't believe that, so we went to see if that's a common opinion.
They can be for one day, 1 hour, somebody that they've always wanted to be, a magician, a priest, a knight, anything. It's just using your imagination and doing something completely out of the ordinary. And everybody's fascinated by magic. You know, Marilyn, Excalibur, all that, King Arthur. Anything that has to do with medieval times, chainmail, helmets, shields, anything you can imagine, daggers, everything. It's like we try to cover as much as we can.
Do you find a lot of teenagers come in, like a lot of adolescents?
Oh yeah, a lot. Even little children, 5 years old, they're fascinated by medieval times. They're fascinated by swords. Like the Excalibur sword, of course, we know that it's never been found. So, but from the writings, they were able to come to this.
We're afraid to touch it almost.
There you go.
Oh God, they fought with this?
They would be holding it in the back, right? And be running like this, okay? And then they would go with all their power and they would hit the other person. So they were meant more for smashing the other person more than chopping them up, you know? The weight is going to spread itself throughout your whole body.
That's if I ever get my elbow through the chainmail. Right.
Chainmail.
Oh God. Oh man, where's the sword? Wait, I gotta finish this off. Where's that barbarian sword there?
One.
Oh God. I now weigh as much as my entire family. Well, it's a long way from the Scottish Highlands to St. Catherine Street East, but we're here at Le Foufoune to check out medieval night and to see why people are so fascinated with that era. And you never know, I might get a chance to cross swords with somebody or something, so come on inside.
For me, it's to be in other worlds. It's to be in other characters. I can play somebody else and just forget the problems in my life.
Do you enjoy watching the guys fighting and all that kind of stuff?
Very much.
With the advance of technology and everything, people feel a bit, you know, awkward and they don't feel in touch with the raw side of themselves.
All right, so Jose, if I want to find the raw energy within myself right now, is there anything I can try on or put on or something?
No problem.
All right, let's go. Okay, cool, thank you.
Step back a bit because we need a bit of space.
Okay.
It's not like movies. You don't go like this, you know? You want to hit me. Try not to hit me in the face, please.
Okay.
Good. Hey, you'd be good at this.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, here we go. Okay. How are we supposed to do it? Like this?
No, I'm just playing with you.
Oh, okay. Go on. Don't try this at home with broom handles.
No, not a good idea.
Don't do that. Okay. What do you think? I feel like one of those batteries. You feel it. It's not like I don't get hurt, but you feel it. I'm kind of dizzy and I feel, you know, I'm a bit off. but that's okay.
If you believe in reincarnation, maybe people are reliving past lives this way. A recent study suggests that girls are consistently smarter than boys. We went to check out if people actually buy that.
I don't know, in different ways. I think some, like, boys are smarter in some ways and girls are smarter in others, and it just matters what's developed.
Men and women could be equally smart, but just in different ways.
In what ways?
Well, women are more intellectual, and men are just like more, I don't know, men are weird.
I just think that such a study exists, that it's probably very skewed in lots of ways, because I don't think that you can prove that.
I think it's questionable.
In what ways?
Well, I don't know how they proved it. You know, how are they smarter? There's different kinds of smartness.
I don't know. I guess if it's true, it's true. I don't buy it personally.
I think girls are more disciplined, and yeah, that's why maybe they are smarter.
In anything I've ever done, I've never found that girls tend to show any more aptitude in marks or anything.
Well, I think there are probably certain facets of the intellect, if you want to say that girls are smarter than boys in, but I wouldn't say overall that they necessarily are.
Yeah, most of the women that I know make me look bad all the time, so I'd be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
This is the National News Bulletin, a summary of the day's news. They say that Canadian, American, and British troops landed on the Normandy coast in northern France.
By the time I was flying, I was 21. I celebrated my 22nd birthday in the resistance in France.
When most people think of veterans, they think of people who collect donations and hand out poppies. Well, we're here at an exhibition put on by the government and by the veterans to give students an idea of what the wars were all about and the veterans' experiences there.
Now, I
crashed into a plane?
Yeah, the plane crashed right over the top of us. Killed everybody, most everybody, except me. I was in the back. And about that far from the back of my head, there was a hole you could put this table through. We find that the students are very interested in what we have to say, and they are very open. They like to ask all kinds of questions.
I wanted them to know a little bit of, to sensitize them, actually, to sensitize them about the First World War, about the Second World War, and the Korean.
It's really good. It's really good. It's interactive. It's very interesting because you get to go to different stages and learn about different things, and you follow a sort of a game to figure out who a character is and all about him, and as well as learning about different parts of the war.
I gather this is a replica of packages that soldiers would have gotten in the wars?
Yes.
And this is also the game?
Yes. The students are separated in different teams, and they receive that. They have to go to the 4 different sites in the exhibition and answer the question that they have on the paper, on the wrapping paper.
That saved a wreck like me.
Now, I personally like pictures of pinup girls here, but what would you be able to tell me about the connection they had with you guys?
We wanted something to remind us of home, to remind them that sanity was somewhere in our life.
One of our largest enemies, or biggest enemies, was the cold. Up at 20,000 feet, in the wintertime, the temperature can be as cold as 60 below zero.
What was your reaction to finding out that some of the soldiers, and a lot of the soldiers, were around your age when they were actually fighting and flying planes?
I was surprised. I thought they were a lot older. They had to do a lot of grown-up tasks, and I don't know, it's very surprising. I don't think I could have done that.
The students I've seen in the last 4 days, I'm sure there were several that I would love to have in a crew if I were flying. Mind you, I also ran across some that I certainly wouldn't want in my crew.
I wanted to put together how it was to be a teenager during the 40s or during the First World War, and how it is to be a teenager today. This is a cap from the First World War, and the soldiers were wearing that. I want them to touch, because when we go to museum, most of the time we cannot touch anything, we just see.
It's interactive, so you're sort of learning at the same time as having fun. And I find, I don't know, education is absorbed better that way, rather than just reading a textbook and answering questions.
Each week, she would come to school with bruises on her body, sometimes on her face, or maybe an imprint of a hand on her arm, always making excuses every time she was asked what happened. I fell down the stairs, she would say, or I fell off my bike. Never had I seen a person bruised so badly by doing something like that.
Leave Out Violence, Love is a project created to help kids find non-violent ways to express themselves. We're here at Dawson College where kids are trying their hand at photography.
Then this is when we went to Old Montreal after the ceremony. Pictures. Yeah, I go to Old Montreal quite often. This is, like I said, printed on color paper, so it's not the same process as what you'll be doing.
This organization called Leave Out Violence, which we call Love, was started in 1993. My husband was murdered by a 14-year-old boy, and I decided that something had to be done for the young people of today so that they don't become victims as well and turn to violence. The kids are all referred to us through either alternative schools or through youth protection services or social services. Some of their issues are coming out through their creativity, and through that way, they're able to develop a strong voice in a creative way.
So what are you looking for, actually?
What I'm looking at is just like the construction here that's going on here, and just basically like the road ahead it's empty and everything.
How long have you been taking photographs?
A few years maybe. I used to take pictures everywhere here and there. I used to run around the house and take pictures of everything.
How has it helped you?
I see violence in a different way. Like in certain violent situations, I see violence in a different way. And it's like just the group that we have here that brings us together and stuff.
Some good nature shots here. Some outside.
That was mostly just experimental, I think.
Yeah, this is pretty good though. They're well exposed, you see.
You try to get the picture, you try to be ready for that magic shot that tells the story to people. So just by looking at a shot, even maybe without the writing, people will understand what happened at this situation.
How do your past experiences play into this project?
I sort of feel that I have more an inside view of what I'm doing, and can sort of take out more feelings in my pictures and the writing that I'm doing. Things that have to do with family violence. Okay. This is what I'm doing for my part of the project. So things like this image here of footprints in mud, that could always sort of say something in a way. Anger comes out in very many ways, and loneliness, and this is just my way. And I suggest that anybody who has feelings of any kind can put it into constructive ways other than art, anything they want. There's so many things out there.
Her entire back was cut up, almost as if she had been whipped. I asked her about it almost the second I saw it. The look she had given me was so distant, so unfeeling, so cold. I wondered for a moment if it was really her I was seeing, not a duplicated clone of the real her. She turned her back to me again and then replied, I was bad. That's it.
You know, I look around at people my age, and people are pretty apathetic, directionless. So what's it like to be young, extremely talented, completely passionate and motivated in what you want to do with the rest of your life? Well, I met a young dancer named Azure, and she is exactly that. And she told me a bit about the world of dance, but also about the sacrifices that come along with that sort of drive.
I've always wanted to dance, and I'm here today.
started when I was 3, and I'm 21 now. Started with tap dancing. The National Ballet School, it's every little ballerina's dream. I wanted to go so badly. When I was 14, I auditioned for the ballet school, and it's a very prestigious school. It's supposed to be one of the schools of the world. Karen Kane came into the school, and you see that, and that's your absolute dream. There was obviously great times at school, great friends, great training. Sure, it was difficult, but you know, it's the end all and be all when you're there.
Did you feel like you missed out on a lot of things then?
Oh, yeah, for sure, I did. You're forced to grow up really fast in an institution. You're not really exposed to a lot of other things. You're so focused on what you're doing and so wrapped up in this little world that you get caught up in it, and you think you're happy, you are happy.
I don't think there's anything that you want to do, dance or any other kind of field, where you feel that you really have a calling to do it. I don't think you can do it without giving up something else.
There isn't that much money, and because there isn't that much understanding within society of the value of the art. So, and there's this big misconception that we're all just walking around like fairy princesses. It ain't fairy princess land. It's really, really, really tough to get out and make a tour happen.
Did you choose to move away from classical? Because you were doing classical, right?
Did I choose? I like classical, but with me I just feel really tense and really kind of stiff when doing it. Whereas with new creations and new choreography and modern contemporary work, it's very, much more natural.
Take more time this way or something.
It's very competitive. It's incredible how scarce the jobs are now. In New York with my sister as well, she went to an audition. 500 dancers went to this David Parsons audition, and they needed one girl. People tend to forget how lucky they are to have jobs. This is a stepping stone here at Les Ballet Jazz. I definitely want to dance other places as well.
Like, what's the dream? What's the one place you want to be?
Is where I auditioned, and there was a lot of people, and I got kept to the last 3. The Netherlands Dance Theater.
Really?
Yeah, when I was there, I got to work with Yuri Killian. He's definitely my mentor. Wow. So I'll hopefully someday get to dance for them.
Good. Okay.
It's opening night here at the School for Performing Arts, and we're here to talk to some of the teen stars about the world of acting and to find out a little bit about their new play, Anne Frank.
Anne Frank is a 13-year-old girl. Her family is Jewish, and it was in the middle of the Holocaust and World War II. When they were rounding up all the Jews, her family had to go into hiding in a secret annex, an attic. While she was there, she got a diary, and she wrote about her life and the things that were happening while she was in hiding.
I don't know what gets into you, Anne. You are wild.
Anne Frank is a 13-year-old girl. You know, we can relate to her very much because she's young, she's a teenager, you know, she's going through a lot of changes. So for teenagers, we can really relate to her.
Anything you say, Mother.
I knew very little about Anne before you started doing the play. I knew that she's hiding in an attic, but I didn't know detail about it. And it makes you really think about what these people actually went through.
They were like 10 people almost, 8 people, something.
living in this space designed just for storage.
Sometimes teenagers, they complain a lot, but when you play a character like that and you realize the suffering and all the things that they had to go through.
Yeah, we take our lives for granted and everything, and how we don't realize how good we've got it until we read something like this.
Are you going to sit there and wait for them to come and get you? Do something, I tell you!
Will you just keep still?
Please, somebody go and get Father!
I'll go. Haven't you done enough?
Please, Mr. Van Dam, go and get Father!
Everyone, quiet! Quiet.
I lift up my eyes up to the map. Well, how do you think you'd be feeling if you were like Anne in World War II, having to live in, a cramped space?
I'd be like so terrified. It would be like, I don't think I could survive. It would be like so scary.
I'd be like crying all the time. It's like really scary.
You feel like you're in the attic with them. You share the pain that she's living all by herself there, how everybody's always antagonizing her.
This is what we want to do with this production. We want to move people, and we want them to be able to really feel all the emotions that are in this play.
And I think the best thrill of all is when you get them to cry, because that's the hardest. I mean, laughing is really easy, but if you really touch them, I think that's the best.
Whatever tomorrow may bring, so hear us rejoicing and merry.
What some of us were thinking, this is a family, and if we just think of this as happening to our family and stuff, like being Anne and Mrs. Van Dam and Margaret and Peter, and the situations that they were in, and that happening to our own family.
My beautiful fur coat my father gave me.
I really enjoy acting. I'd like to pursue a career in that field.
I'd love to have acting as a career of mine.
Big bucks, big movie star.
If I don't make it in the business, I want to have a good education so I have something to land on,
I'd like to act. I guess if it doesn't take off or I don't become a big movie star or anything, then I'll be really glad that I got the experience, and I had so much fun doing this play.
Well, that's a wrap.